I suppose before we get into our top 10 moments, Matt, we'll have our predictions. As always, looking back on last week's graphic, I got the 6 right. I think it might be the first time that one of us got all of them right. The Pearshig, Doon, Kilmallock, Ballybrown, KP, and Mungo St. Paul's. But you actually got more points because you correctly predicted Ballybrown to win by 3. It didn't look likely for large portions of the game, but there it is. You're getting closer every week. You're within 4 points now. But that's how it went last week. I suppose looking at potential goal scorers, we had plucked in the Pearshig there. You said Dave Dempsey, I said Adrian Breen. Adrian Breen got the goals. Both wrong in the Doon Parswell game. It was Pat Ryan that got the goals. You said Dean Coleman. I said Adam English didn't play. We both went for Shane O'Brien in the Kilmallock game, but it was Oisin O'Reilly who got off the mark there. Mungo St. Paul's, South Liberties, you said Paul O'Brien. I said Niall Mulcahy. It was Brian Amaro who got the goal. Ballybrown versus Carricksplan, I said Colin Coughlin. You said Callum Sheehan who got the second goal, but it was Dylan O'Shea who got the first. And then Kildine Palace Kinnery versus Blackrock. You said Colin O'Keefe. I said Darren O'Connell. I think it was John Shaw got the opening goal there. So got one from 12 isn't great, but we'll try again this week.
Just Jackie, if I could digress backwards just for a second, you mentioned Shane O'Brien, and we've been speaking about Shane O'Brien for quite a while, and like I saw another aspect of his game last Friday evening in Cahercondish. In the absence of Mike Houlihan, he's now taking the frees, and he stepped up to 9 frees, including a 65, and landed 8 of them.
Yeah, he's just he's a sort of player that you just don't really get surprised by these things anymore. It's more expectation with Shane O'Brien, which is in his first year. You kind of take these things for granted, but he won All Ireland.
Just phenomenal.
And I think, not to digress, I think we'll be talking about Shane later on in the podcast. But getting into our predictions for this weekend, Matt. Again, the 6 games, and we'll start with Na Piarsaigh versus Ahan. Obviously, Na Piarsaigh are home and host. Ahan will be, I suppose, between relegation and a quarter-final place. They obviously need a win to I suppose, get into the quarter-final. Can you see them picking it up, or?
I'm going for Na Piarsaigh by 6.
Na Piarsaigh by 6. I'm going to go for NAP by 5. Goal scorer Adrian Breen was on hand last week to get me going, but I'm going to go with Dave Dempsey this week.
Well, I'm going with Dave Dempsey as well.
Well, I'm going to change then. If you're sticking to Dave Dempsey, I'm going to go with Peter Casey. Even though I feel like some of those players.
Yeah, Dempsey is not going to disappoint 3 weeks in a row.
I think Na Piarsaigh might rest players this week just by virtue of being through already. But yeah, Patrickswell versus Adair.
I don't know that they will, for the simple reason that they will be conscious of the ramifications of the outcome for other clubs. In fairness, No,
but I don't think they'd do it out of losing integrity. But they've so many good players that they can afford to rest players, and performance levels will stay the same. From what I've seen, that intermediate team, obviously the lads weren't burned yet. They could easily play senior hurling. I don't mean to offend anyone in that regard. They just have so many good players. But Patrickswell versus Adair, and Adair win would be probably enough for them to go through. But
Patrickswell, I'm going by Patrickswell by 4.
P-Well by 4. I'm going to go by the Well by 3. I think that was the result last year. And Aaron Gillan, first goal scorer.
Could
obviously be Adair.
Willie Griffin.
You're going for Willie Griffin from Adair. And then Doon versus Kilmallock in that straight shootout. Which team will get into the semi-final, Matt?
Kilmallock by 3.
Kilmallock by 3. I'm going to go Doon by 2 points to get revenge for, I suppose, last year's semi-final. And obviously Kilmallock going through the quarters last year didn't do them any harm, so I'm sure they won't really mind either way. But if you were to pick a first goal scorer?
I'd go Oisin O'Reilly.
You know, really, who's got well, he's got goals in every round, I think, or thereabouts. I'm going to go with Pat Ryan to get the first goal again. Into Group 2, KP and Gary Spillane. A win for KP will be
by 5.
KP by 5. Do you know what? I'm going to go for a draw in this one, which will be enough for KP. First goal scorer. We'll go Chalky again. See, does he make it 3 in a row?
Yeah, well, no. I'll go Darren O'Connell.
Darren O'Connell. Ballybrown versus South Liberties, Matt.
I'm going Ballybrown by 3.
Bally by 3, which will be enough for them to go up, or to go into the quarterfinal at the least. I'm going to stay with Ballybrown as well. Ballybrown plus 4. And I'm going to go with Aidan O'Connor for the first goal scorer.
Right.
Were you planning on Aidan O'Connor?
No, Ross Kenny.
Ross Kenny. And then Munger St. Paul's versus Blackrock, which, depending on the results, could be a dead rubber for both teams. Munger obviously safe and Blackrock relegated. I'm going to go with Munger to win this by 5.
I'll go by 6.
Munger by 6. And I'm going to go with Niall McCahey again. Pick him 3 weeks in a row. He'll surely, as you're plucking with the Dempsey every week, I'm going to stay with Niall McCahey there.
I'll go Rory O'Shaughnessy.
Rory O'Shaughnessy for Blackrock. Those are the games in the senior championship, and I'll get you to give your opinions, I suppose, on the Premier Intermediate Championships before we head away today. So we spoke at length there about Effin and Glenroe. Which way do you see that going?
Well, it's Effin and Cappamore, and I'm going for Effin.
Effin and Cappamore. Sorry, Effin and Cappamore.
Yeah. Rough and Glenroe, I'm going for a draw.
Oh, yeah, I suppose you had said that. I will go Effin and Cappamore. I'd be siding slightly with Cappamore just to keep that roll going. Rough and Glenroe. I'll say Glenroe just for you there. Drumnat Lacka, Newcastle West.
You're so good today, Jack.
I'm very good today.
You just made my day, Jack.
Drumnat Lacka, Newcastle.
Newcastle West.
Yeah, I'd fancy Newcastle as well. And Knockane, Monleen.
Monleen.
That would be, as we said, pretty enough for both teams to get through, really. You would imagine they would take them to a magical 9 points, which generally seems to be enough. But those are our predictions for this weekend's games. As always, it's only for a bit of fun. And in the final round as well, there's other things come into play because teams can go through and teams are already through.